Hey, today we're going to work on calculating interest of mortgages. And I put just the layout to a financial calculator here, so the one we're using in class. If you guys are using one at home, you can always go online and just type in mortgage calculators, and they'll ask you for information like this, okay? And as long as you know what each of these stand for, you can fill in a mortgage calculator at home to practice this stuff. In class, we're going to use these special financial calculators. So, first of all, we're going to talk about, we're buying a house that's $450,000. And we're going to put a down payment of 10% on the house. Okay? That right there is very important because this is not our mortgage. This is how much the house costs. We have to calculate the mortgage. Does anybody know what we do to calculate the mortgage? He knows. What do we do? Okay, so how do I do that? I know you did, but he had said it earlier. So I do 450 times what, Jack? 0.1. Good. What does that equal? So is that what the mortgage is? That's right. That's what we subtract from the cost of the house. And that's our mortgage. So we calculated that 10% of 450,000 is 45,000, and we subtract that amount to get what? 405,000. Now I'm going to show you a shortcut. Okay. This might seem like a trick question, but what percentage of the cost of the house is 450,000? You're getting to where I want to go. 100. That's 100% of the cost of the house. If we have to reduce 10%, what is 100%? Subtract 10%. 90%. So, in other words, our mortgage is for 90%. I want you all in your calculators to multiply 450,000 times 90%, which is 0.9. And tell me what you get. 450. 405,000. So, we still haven't gone anywhere into the mortgage, guys. We're still just talking about this. I'm just showing you two ways to calculate it. One way was to calculate the 10%, then subtract it from the original. Or, whatever the percentage is, you subtract that from 100%. So we took 100%, subtract 10, we got 90. 90% of 450,000 is 405,000. So that's our mortgage. Okay. Our mortgage is 90% of the house, the cost of this house. Okay. Now, this is all the information about the mortgage. The mortgage is going to be 2.89% interest rate per year. So, under interest rate, we put in 2.89. Okay. Compounded semi-annually, what does that mean? That's right, twice a year they compound interest. This stands for compound periods per year. Okay, we'll try to use a different color here. So the value is 2. We're going to be amortizing this mortgage over 30 years. What that means is we're going to pay off the entire mortgage at the end of 30 years. We're going to skip this part because this has implications for a few things. Next one is we're going to make our payments monthly. Okay? And this stands for payments per year. So how many times, if we are paying monthly, do we pay per year? Good. 12. Those are very important. Now, like most mortgages, we're going to make our payments at the end of the year. So make sure your payments say the end of the, sorry, not year, but the end of the month. Okay? So, the amount of the mortgage, which is $405,000, is our present value. That's how much of a loan we have to take out right now. Okay, so this $405,000 is what our mortgage is. That's the present value. That's how much money they're giving me right now so that I can purchase my home. Okay, what we want to figure out is what our payments are going to be. Our PMT here is our payments. We're going to figure it out. Future value has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. Okay? And if you're on a mortgage calculator on the internet, they won't have an option for future value. But for your financial calculator, just put in the value of 0.
Present value is your mortgage?
Present value is the loan we're taking out, the mortgage. That's right. Okay? Now, Ed, how do we calculate N? What does N stand for? Number of payments. So we said this is going to be 30 years. And how many times do we make a payment a year?
Twice.
12. Not twice, but 12. So we are going to take 12. So 12 payments for a year for 30 years. 360. That won't always be the case. We'll get into different examples. So we've plugged in all of our values. Okay? We need to calculate our payments. How much are our payments going to be every single month? Does anybody know? $1,683. Excellent. Okay? So this is how much we have to pay every month. This is very important for what we're about to do. So we had a small error there. We're just going to talk about it. It was actually 1,679. Make sure on your financial calculators, when you put in 12 here, it usually, or whatever number you put in there, it automatically doubles that number in compound period. Make sure that's not the case, because we were compounding twice a year, not 12. Okay? When it's twice a year, we saved $4 every month. So, let's talk about this mortgage. They loaned us $405,000. How much do I pay them? First of all, how many payments do I make to them over the life of this mortgage? 360. This is how many payments I make over the life of the mortgage. And how much is each of my payments for? $1,679. So in other words, to calculate how much money I pay them, I take my $1,679 and I multiply it by the 360 payments I make. So let's take a calculator out. This includes the interest also.
Wait, so what are you looking for now?
604.40. So 604. Did I read that wrong? 440. Oh. Okay, so let's pay attention to this. What we did, again, just to recap, is we took what each of our payments were every single month, and we make 360 of these payments over those 30 years. So the amount of money I pay them, $604,440. Remember, they only loaned me $405,000. Over 30 years, this is how much I pay them. So I want to figure out how much money they made off of me. What would I do with these values? That's right. So I take that 604,440, and I subtract the loan they gave me, which was for 405. And we're looking at, in blue here, 044, and that becomes 9. They made, in interest, the bank made $199,440, almost $200,000 in 30 years off of me from my payments.